The Flat on the High Street, a monologue by Jules Garvey-Welch. Flat next door is empty again. Apparently, the new neighbours are called Ahmed or some such. From Syria, so Wonky John, our Korean postman, told me. He said, "Don't worry, Mrs. Andrews, they're a lovely couple. They've lived in this area for a while. She's something to do with pharmacy and he works at B&Q in the warehouse." "That's nice," I said. "I like a man in uniform." Flat's been empty for a while now, since that young couple who shared jogging bottoms moved out. Left overnight they did, didn't even say goodbye. I think one of them must have been a diabetic, as Maureen from 4B said there was needles everywhere. And they never returned my heat lamp, the one the occupational therapist lent me for my lumbago. She said she had some plant she wanted to speed along a bit, ready for her mother's birthday. Lovely girl, very thoughtful. Bit dark under the eyes, though. Wanky always stops for a chat. He's a bit of a gossip, but he wears nice aftershave. He asked me if my Daniel had been to visit. I said it just so happens that he's coming later today. "That'll be nice for you," he said. "It's been a while." I told him Daniel's a busy man, big in lead piping, hardly has a minute to spare. He was trying to look over my shoulder at the lemon drizzle cake on the table. I said, "You can take your eyes off that. I've bought it in specially." It was always Daniel's favourite as a child. It's busy on the high street today. I would be out there myself if it wasn't for these legs. Dr. Graham said he'd pop over later to have a look at them. Weeping like angels they are, despite the dressings. Nice man. Always has nicely polished shoes. He said, "Cynthia?" I said, "Mrs. Andrews to you." He said, "Mrs. Andrews, you need to rest them and keep them elevated. Stick a bit of daytime TV on and make the most of it." I told him I only watch the news and wildlife programmes. "Me too, Mrs. Andrews," he said, "but a bit of Coronation Street never hurt anyone." "Coronation Street? I don't think so," I told him. "I used to go to school with Ken Barlow. Bit of a show-off by all accounts. Like the sound of his own voice." "That's actors for you," he said. I said, "If you use the term loosely." Daniel always hated Coronation Street. He said the theme tune reminded him of his dad coming back from work, smelling of Swarthega. Oh, here she comes, the new girl from downstairs, wearing next to nothing. In my day, we left a bit to the imagination. 3 children, all from different dads, so Maureen tells me. The youngest came round the other day, asking if I wanted my front door cleaned. She was saving up for bedding for her pet mouse. I told her I used to have a pet mouse as a child. I called him Mickey. She said hers was called Chantel Louise. I said, "I don't think that'll catch on." Her older sister pops in sometimes after school to eat all my custard creams and leave felt pen on my tablecloth. Last week, she asked me to help with her poster advertisement she needed to do for her homework. It was all about a new chocolate she'd invented. I told her, I said, "Harper Storm, you need more persuasive verbs, and maybe a question to draw in your audience, like the ones they use in the TV ads." She got one of my permanent markers from the kitchen drawer and wrote, "Do you like cockalock?" along the top. I was thinking, not since the Cold War, but I added the missing H and E, so she didn't get in trouble with her teacher, and then I helped her colour it in. I better give that kitchen surface a bit of a wipe. Daniel can't abide crumbs and clutter. Old George Fielding has died. He used to be our beat bobby. Only 86 he was. They found him in Morrison's with his wife's dress on, trying to climb in with the frozen broccoli. Poor old fella. The other week he was standing in the middle of town, claiming the traffic was sending him subliminal messages to kill himself. I think they were going to section him, but he died before they had a chance. His poor daughter had to clear out his bungalow, kept finding jiffy bags full of soiled underpants in hidden places. Dementia. It just keeps on giving, she told Maureen. I see the newsagent's for sale sign is up at last. Henry had been there for years. He had a smashing head of hair. Always wore a vest. And he could play the trumpet. He used to be in one of those brass bands that march up and down the esplanade. Some daft name like the Latin Colander Shapers Brass Ensemble or some such. I've always liked a brass band. There's nothing like the puffed-out cheeks of a hornblower with fleckles of spittle on his impeccably ironed shirt and the subtle waft of mothballs mixed with carbolic as he belts out onward Christian soldiers. His wife's still alive, though. She was from up north somewhere. They met while he was doing his national service, so Wanky told me. I can picture him now, staring into her eyes whilst her whippet nibbles on his Battenberg, dancing the night away at the Hocklesworth Ferret and Pigeon Fancier's annual dinner and dance. I never liked northerners. Harsh vales. Daniel's girlfriend's a northerner. Must be nearly 6 years they've been going out now. He said he'd bring her down when they're free. Be nice to meet her. I see they've started knocking down the old picture house, putting up some more flats. Nigel, next door, told me they were going to be social housing. He was thinking of applying for one himself. He did tell me who the building company was, but I was distracted by his rather short shorts. He was sitting on my padded velour recliner with his legs akimbo, complaining about the rod drilling and whistling builders. There was a strange netting protruding from his inner thigh, which looked like a couple of Satsumis about to commit armed robbery. I thought I should mention it, but then his mobile went off and he made a quick exit. I gave the chair a wipe, just in case. Daniel's just phoned. Something's come up. He can't make it after all. I said, don't you be worrying yourself. I've got a lot on anyway. And he said he'd ring me when he next had a window. Not to worry. Plenty to keep me occupied.